Today I put a BEC or battery eliminator circuit on the flame wheel to power the RC receiver. Also found a chafed wire on one of the ESCs, so I kind of covered it up and stuck it back in there. I also fixed the red LEDs on the right rear arm. God, I hate how this iPad focuses. It doesn't. So now all the arms are lit again, and it's back to being a true flame wheel. I also put antenna tubes back on the antenna out of the RC receiver to protect them and keep them where they need to be. So that's pretty good. I looked out the door and it was just dead calm, so I decided to take the new configuration out and do some of the other things that I have to do before I can call it ready to fly technically. First thing I'm going to try here is that 50% throttle position again. So I'll get it up and we'll flip the from altitude hold into stabilized mode, and she goes flying up again. So I had reduced that from 430 to 400 down to 380. Only goes as low as 300. That's 1/3 throttle. So now I put it in altitude hold, and I'm going to do an auto tune here to get the PIDs. Those have to do with how quickly it reacts to control stick, and there's a way that it jerks itself back and forth like this and automatically sets those settings instead of me having to play with them and play with them and play with them to get them close to what I want. During the auto tune, anytime it doesn't see a dead zero stick, even if there's trim, you can't have any trim on any of the controls or it won't see zero stick and it won't auto tune. So what happens here is the craft kept slipping to the left. You can reposition it during the auto tune because it won't. It goes out of auto tune when it doesn't see zero stick. And I keep having to reposition it to the right here. There's virtually no wind at this point, but the thing just really wants to go left. Sometimes the 20-degree pitches that it does make it go to the left, and sometimes it's just some drift in the frame. I did work on that later. I'll get to that in a second. It's in front of that tree, but there's an electrical line over there and a transformer I don't want to get into or near. Could cause electrical interference without touching it. Could be electrical interference, just radiated RF. So this thing is just really overpowered, which is good at this point because I might put a gimbal on it. It'll decrease the power, it'll decrease the flight time, but try to keep it as light as possible. It keeps just slipping to the right. I have to keep left. I have to keep repositioning it. The mid throttle settings. There it goes. Now it's going to do front and back tuning. It's pitching forward and reverse now. It's finished right to left. But the throttle mid position is still at 380. 38% throttle basically. It's still not a hover. It's a little frustrating in one way, but it's a nice powerful platform. I like the power and the speed of it. It gets to do a lot of front to back while it slips to the left. So I don't have to really reposition it that much while it's doing this portion. So this portion really didn't take as long as the left to right. The roll. It's doing the pitch now. And it's basically finished tuning. So now it should be most responsive to my input. All I have to do is land it, unplug it while these settings are in it, and it'll reset them all to the new settings. Then I can fly it and see how it flies with the new settings. I was playing with it a little bit here with the new settings and also trying to figure out that side slip problem. I don't want to put any trim into it after auto-tune's not ever done again. You can trim it, but I'd rather not have to trim it. An altitude hold, it really drifts to the left. So here I was playing with the control stick to see how much right I would have to add to basically make it loiter. Now if you put it in loiter mode, that engages the GPS and causes the platform to keep itself both in altitude hold and altitude and also in the same position because of the GPS. That's two different modes. Stabilized mode just basically keeps the platform level with the gyros and you do everything else. Altitude hold is stabilized mode, plus it tries to stay at that altitude. In loiter mode, the GPS is added in, gyros keep it level, altitude is taken care of by the barometer and altitude hold, and the GPS tries to keep it right where it was in GPS coordinates. So this is a stabilized land and pretty much done for this fun. Take it back inside. So I took it back inside. I actually recalibrated the accelerometers to try to get a little bit of that left drift out of it, and I also dropped the mid throttle from 380 to 350. 35% throttle now when I've got it at mid throttle. So I'm going to take off here. This was just a fun flight with what was left on the batteries and to test that mid throttle. It was getting dark. The GoPro actually sees well in low light. I just wanted to show the neighborhood the LEDs again. I'm back! And I did test I changed the channel control for auto tune to reorient to arm to yaw. And so I will change the yaw here, in other words rotate it, and then I'll flip that switch and it should rotate back to where it was when it was armed on the ground. I wanted to test that, and also wanted to test the new mid throttle. Oh, look at that. The new mid throttle just barely starts to rise. I think 35% throttle is going to be good. I like it. Now let's rotate it out of normal. Flip the switch and it reorients back to the way it was on the ground. I'm in GPS hold now, or loiter mode, so it's going to stay right where it is. I also found that with the, well, let's do another, flip the switch on the reorient to armed yaw. Bingo, goes back. That way if it gets kind of out of control, you notice the top of that tree, that is not me. Just as I finished this, the storm started coming in. I had the calm, cool air before the storm for the auto tune, but then it just came a frog strangler. So my reorient to armed yaw works. I like the 35% throttle for mid throttle position. I like the new accelerometer orientation that isn't sliding to the left much anymore, even in just stabilized mode. So that's pretty much it for today.
Vernon heading to waypoint home, ground speed is 0. Vernon mode changed to stabilize. Vernon mode changed to alt hold. Vernon mode changed to stabilize. Vernon mode changed to alt hold. Auto tune started. Vernon heading to waypoint home, ground speed is 4. Auto tune success. Auto tune success. Vernon mode changed to stabilize. Vernon mode changed to loiter. Vernon mode changed to land.